I wasted 20 years planting flowers one at a time. Beautiful flowers, award-winning varieties, and my garden still looked empty for most of the year. I'd get 6 weeks of color in spring, then nothing. A few weeks of summer bloom, then green. By October, everything was brown. I spent decades buying the right plants individually, but I was putting them together all wrong. Then one fall afternoon, I was walking through a botanical garden. Not a famous one, just a small public garden in my area, and I noticed something that stopped me in my tracks. Every single bed had something blooming, every one. It was November. My garden at home was completely dormant, but this place was alive with color. I found the head gardener and asked her one question: "How do you have flowers in November?" Her answer changed everything I thought I knew about gardening. She said, "We don't plant flowers, we plant combinations." That conversation was 17 years ago. Since then, I've tested dozens of plant combinations in my own garden, trying to achieve what that botanical garden had. 12 months of continuous bloom, not just green foliage, actual flowers every single month, January through December. Most of those combinations failed. Some gave me 9 months, a few gave me 10, but I've finally narrowed it down to 8 specific combinations that, planted together, give you flowers every single month of the year. And the combination I'm going to share at number 1 is the one that shocked me most. It covers the 3 months that every gardener thinks are impossible: December, January, and February. Flowers in the dead of winter. I didn't believe it until I saw it in my own garden. But let's start with number 8 and work our way up. Each combination is designed to hand off bloom from one plant to the next, like a relay race. When one finishes, the other takes over. No gaps. Combination number 8, Shasta daisy and purple coneflower. Together, these two cover May through October. 6 continuous months. Here's how the relay works. Shasta daisy, specifically the variety called Becky, starts blooming in late May. Big white flowers, 3 to 4 inches across, on stems strong enough to handle summer storms. Becky keeps blooming through July, sometimes into early August. But here's where it gets interesting. Just as the Shasta daisy starts slowing down, purple coneflower hits its stride. Purple coneflower, the variety Magnus, starts blooming in June, so you get an overlap period in June and July where both plants are flowering simultaneously. Your garden isn't just continuous, it's abundant. Then, when the daisies finally rest in August, the coneflowers carry the show all the way through October. I planted this combination 14 years ago along my back fence. The daisies are in front because they're shorter, about 2 feet tall. The coneflowers stand behind them at 3 to 4 feet. When both are blooming in June and July, it looks like a professional designed it. White daisies in front, purple cones behind. People stop and compliment it every summer. But here's something most gardeners miss about this pairing. Leave the coneflower seed heads standing after the petals drop. Don't cut them, because in winter, goldfinches will land on those dried seed heads and feed on the seeds. I've watched flocks of them in January, clinging to frozen stems in the snow. So even after the flowers are gone, this combination is still working for your garden. Plant the daisies 18 inches apart in front and the coneflowers 24 inches apart behind them. Full sun, well-drained soil. Water weekly the first year, then they're on their own. Combination number 7, catmint and blanket flower. This pair gives you late April through November, 7 months of non-stop color. Catmint, specifically Walker's Low, is one of those plants that changed how I think about gardening. It starts blooming in late April with clouds of lavender blue flowers. Thousands of tiny blooms on a mound about 24 inches tall and 36 inches wide. The scent alone is worth planting it. Brush against it and you get this wonderful minty fragrance. And the bees go absolutely crazy for it. On a warm afternoon, you can hear the hum from 20 feet away. Now, catmint blooms heavily from April through mid-July, then slows down. Here's the trick. Cut it back by half in mid-July. 5 minutes with head shears. Within 2 weeks, fresh growth appears, and you get a completely new flush of flowers that lasts until frost. Meanwhile, blanket flower, the variety Arizona Sun, starts blooming in June. Red flowers with bright yellow edges that look like miniature sunsets. And here's what makes blanket flower absolutely remarkable for combinations. It actually blooms better in poor soil. I'm not exaggerating. The ones I planted in terrible gravelly soil by my driveway outperform the ones in good garden soil 2-to-1. Rich soil makes them grow leaves. Poor soil makes them grow flowers. So from late April through May, catmint carries the show alone. June through mid-July, both are blooming together. After the catmint cutback, blanket flower holds the line while catmint regrows. Then from August through November, both are blooming again until hard frost takes them. This combination also has a hidden benefit. Blanket flowers are completely ignored by deer and rabbits, and catmint's aromatic foliage repels many common garden pests. Together, they create a low-maintenance, pest-resistant duo that blooms for 7 months with about 5 minutes of total care per year. Combination number 6. Hardy salvia and coreopsis. May through October, 6 months of deep color. Hardy salvia, May night variety, sends up spikes of deep purple-blue flowers starting in May. Hummingbirds visit these flowers dozens of times per day. I've sat on my porch and watched a single hummingbird work every flower on a salvia plant, then move to the next one, then come back and start over. The plants form neat clumps about 18 inches tall. Deer and rabbits completely avoid them. Now pair that with threadleaf coreopsis, the variety moonbeam. Pale yellow flowers, hundreds of them, on delicate 12 to 18-inch mounds. Moonbeam starts blooming in June and doesn't stop until October. No deadheading required. The flowers are small, about an inch across, but there are so many of them that the entire plant looks like a yellow cloud. Here's the visual magic of this combination. Deep purple-blue salvia spikes rising above a sea of pale yellow coreopsis. The color contrast is stunning. Professional landscape designers use this exact combination because the warm and cool colors play off each other perfectly. It looks intentional and sophisticated with zero effort. The relay timing works like this. Salvia starts alone in May. Coreopsis joins in June. Both bloom together through the summer. Salvia benefits from a light trim after its first flush in late June, which produces a second wave of bloom in August. Meanwhile, coreopsis just keeps going without any attention at all. Both plants are extremely drought-tolerant once established. I have this combination in a spot that gets no supplemental water and full afternoon sun. They thrive. Don't fertilize the coreopsis. Don't amend the soil. Both plants actually perform better in average to lean soil. Combination number 5. Verbena and Russian sage. This pair covers May through November, 7 months, and they tackle 2 different levels of the garden. Hardy verbena, homestead purple variety, grows only 6 to 8 inches tall but spreads up to 36 inches wide. It creates a carpet of deep purple flowers starting in May that continues through November. 7 months of ground-level color without a single minute of care beyond the first summer of watering. Behind it, Russian sage grows 3 to 4 feet tall with airy sprays of lavender-blue flowers from July through October. The silvery gray foliage is aromatic. Deer won't touch it. Rabbits won't touch it. I haven't watered my Russian sage in 7 years. So from May through June, verbena handles the show alone, creating a purple carpet at ground level. Then in July, Russian sage joins the performance, adding height and a completely different shade of blue above. From July through October, you have 2 layers of bloom, purple carpet below, lavender haze above. Then when Russian sage finishes in October, verbena continues alone through November. This is also the best combination on this list for butterflies. I've counted 5 different butterfly species on the verbena in a single afternoon, and bees cover the Russian sage from July through October. If you want a pollinator garden with minimal effort, this is your combination. One important note. Russian sage needs to be cut back hard in late winter or early spring, down to about 6 inches above the ground. It looks brutal, but it's necessary. Skip that cutback and the stems get woody and bloom less. That's the only maintenance this combination needs all year. Combination number 4. Repeat blooming daylilies and Mexican mint marigold. This is the combination that extends your garden into territory most people think is impossible. June through December, 7 months, and the handoff between these two plants is what makes it extraordinary. Repeat blooming daylilies, specifically Stella d'Oro or Happy Returns, bloom from June through September. Individual flowers last only 1 day, but each stem produces 12 to 20 buds, and the plants constantly send up new stems. The key word is repeat blooming. Regular daylilies bloom once and quit. These varieties keep cycling all summer. Then comes the magic. As the daylilies slow down in September, Mexican mint marigold is just hitting its stride. This plant doesn't even start blooming until August because it's triggered by shorter day length, not temperature. While everything else is winding down for fall, Mexican mint marigold explodes with golden yellow flowers. Small blooms about ½ inch across, but thousands of them covering a bushy plant 24 to 36 inches tall. And it keeps blooming until hard frost, which in many areas means December. I discovered this handoff by accident 11 years ago. The daylilies were fading, the garden was starting to look tired, and suddenly this plant I'd almost forgotten about erupted in gold. October, November, early December. While my neighbors' gardens were brown and dormant, mine had golden flowers and migrating monarch butterflies stopping to refuel. The foliage of Mexican mint marigold smells like anise when you crush it, and here's a bonus most people don't know. The leaves are edible. They're used as a substitute for French tarragon in cooking. The flowers are edible too. So you get 7 months of bloom and a culinary herb all in one plant. Plant the daylilies in front at 18 to 24 inches apart. Mexican mint marigold behind them at 24 to 30 inches apart. Full sun, well-drained soil. Both are drought-tolerant once established. Combination number 3, hellebore and catmint. This is where we start covering the months that most gardeners surrender to winter. February through October, 9 months from just 2 plants. Hellebore, also called Lenten rose, is one of the most underappreciated perennials in existence. The variety Helleborus orientalis starts blooming in February, sometimes earlier. When your entire garden is frozen and dormant, hellebores push up through the cold soil and open elegant rose-like flowers, white, pink, purple, deep burgundy. Some have freckles, some have double petals. The flowers last for weeks, sometimes months. I planted hellebores under the old maple tree in my front yard 15 years ago. Every February, while snow is still on the ground in some years, those flowers appear. Neighbors walking by in February stop and stare. They can't believe something is blooming. Hellebores bloom from February through April, sometimes into May. Then catmint, Walker's Low, takes over in late April and carries the bloom through October with that one mid-July cutback. The overlap in April means there's never a gap. Hellebores are finishing while catmint is starting. Here's what makes hellebores even more valuable in combinations. Their foliage is evergreen. Large, leathery, dark green leaves that look good all year long. So even when they're not blooming, they're providing structure and green color in the garden. Deer ignore them completely. They're also toxic if eaten, so rabbits stay away too. Plant hellebores in partial shade, which makes them perfect for the front of a border where a larger plant casts afternoon shadow. Catmint goes behind or beside them in full sun. The hellebores get the shade they prefer, and the catmint gets the sun it needs. It's a perfect partnership. Combination number 2, snowdrops, bleeding heart, and purple coneflower. 3 plants, 10 months of bloom, January through October. Snowdrops are the toughest, most determined little flowers I've ever grown. They push up through frozen soil, sometimes through actual snow as early as late January. Tiny white bell-shaped flowers, only 3 to 6 inches tall. They look delicate, but they're incredibly tough. Plant them in fall, and they'll naturalize over the years, spreading into larger and larger drifts. As snowdrops finish in March, bleeding heart takes over. The variety Dicentra spectabilis sends up arching stems hung with heart-shaped flowers in pink or white. It blooms through spring into early summer, providing color from March through May, sometimes into June. The foliage is beautiful too, blue-green and fern-like, creating a soft texture in the garden. Then, as bleeding heart goes dormant in the heat of summer, purple coneflower steps in. We've already talked about how reliable coneflower is. June through October, 5 months of bloom with 0 deadheading. And remember those goldfinch feeding seed heads through winter. The key to this 3-plant combination is understanding the life cycle of each plant. Snowdrops are early bulbs that bloom and disappear. Bleeding heart is a spring ephemeral that dies back in summer heat. Coneflower is a summer and fall powerhouse. They use the same garden space but at different times, like 3 shifts sharing one workspace. January through March, snowdrops. March through June, bleeding heart. June through October, coneflower. 10 months covered. Plant snowdrop bulbs in fall, about 3 inches deep. They prefer partial shade and moist soil. Bleeding heart goes in the same bed. It also prefers partial shade. And coneflower at the back in the sunniest part of the bed. As the bleeding heart foliage dies back in summer, the coneflower fills in that space with its own growth. It's a beautiful choreography that looks completely natural. Combination number 1, witch hazel, hellebore, and winter heath. December through March, the impossible months. This is the combination that changed everything for me. For years, I accepted that December through March was dead time in the garden. Brown, bare, nothing. I thought that was just how it worked. I was wrong. Witch hazel is a large shrub or small tree that blooms in the dead of winter. The Native American species, Hamamelis virginiana, actually starts blooming in November and December, covered in fragrant yellow flowers. But the hybrid varieties like Hamamelis intermedia bloom from January through March. Spidery flowers in yellow, orange, copper, and red on bare branches. And they're fragrant, sweet, spicy fragrance that you can smell from several feet away on a cold winter day. I planted a witch hazel near my kitchen window 13 years ago. In January, when I'm standing at the sink, I can see those golden flowers on bare branches against the gray winter sky. And when I open the window, that sweet fragrance drifts in. It's a moment of beauty in the bleakest month of the year. Beneath the witch hazel, I planted hellebores. They start blooming in February, creating a layer of rose-like flowers at ground level while the witch hazel blooms above. 2 layers of winter color. And at the base of both, winter heath, Erica carnea. This is a low-growing evergreen shrub with bell-shaped pink or white flowers that starts blooming in November and continues for 3 months or more. Its needle-like foliage stays green all year. It blooms right through ice and snow. I've seen it flowering with frost on its petals. So here's the complete timeline of this combination. Winter heath starts in November. Witch hazel joins in December or January. Hellebore arrives in February. All 3 are blooming simultaneously in February and March. Then, as witch hazel finishes in March and winter heath winds down, hellebore continues into April and May. This combination gives you color from November through May, 7 months from the combination that everyone said was impossible. The planting strategy is vertical. Witch hazel provides the canopy at 10 to 15 feet tall. Hellebores fill the middle layer at 12 to 18 inches. Winter heath covers the ground at 6 to 12 inches. Each plant gets the light it needs. Witch hazel drops its leaves in fall, allowing winter sun to reach the hellebores and heath below. In summer, the leafy canopy provides shade that hellebores prefer. This is the most set-it-and-forget-it combination on the entire list. Witch hazel needs virtually no maintenance. Hellebores need their old leaves trimmed back in late winter so flowers can show. Winter heath needs nothing. No deadheading, no fertilizing, no watering once established. All three are deer-resistant. All three are disease-resistant. Now here's what happens when you plant all 8 combinations together. Take a step back and look at the complete calendar. Combination 1 gives you November through May. Combination 2 gives you January through October. Combination 3 gives you February through October. Combination 4 gives you June through December. Combinations 5 through 8 fill in the summer months with overlapping waves of color. Every single month is covered. January, snowdrops pushing through snow. Witch hazel flowering on bare branches. February, hellebores opening. Winter heath still blooming. Snowdrops finishing. March, bleeding heart emerging. Witch hazel at peak. April, catmint starting. Hellebores still going. May, salvia, verbena, catmint, daisies beginning. June through September, everything is blooming. The garden is overflowing. October, cone flowers, catmint, blanket flowers, Mexican mint marigold. November, Mexican mint marigold, winter heath, verbena hanging on. December, witch hazel starting, winter heath blooming, Mexican mint marigold still going until hard frost. 12 months. Continuous bloom, not from one magical plant, but from 8 carefully chosen combinations that hand off the baton like a perfectly trained relay team. I spent 20 years planting flowers the wrong way, one at a time, hoping for the best. Now I'm 74, my knees aren't what they were, and I spend maybe 2 hours per month in the garden. But I have flowers every single month of the year. Not because I work harder, because I finally learned to think in combinations, not individual plants. That botanical garden I visited 17 years ago taught me the most important lesson of my gardening life. The secret to a garden that always looks beautiful isn't finding the perfect plant. It's finding the perfect partners. Plant these 8 combinations. Give them 1 year to establish. Then step back and watch the most incredible relay race nature has to offer. 12 months of flowers, year after year, with less work than you'd spend maintaining a lawn. After 51 years of growing flowers, these are the combinations I'd plant again tomorrow if I had to start from scratch. And that's the highest recommendation I can give.